Hey, everybody, what's up? It's Kyle Tolsman, and you're listening to the Against All Average podcast, episode 18, the show where business owners and entrepreneurs come to learn the skills and mindset to lead exceptional lives. Today, I am joined by the one and only Jake. I'm 22 and rock the dad bod with 100% confidence, Spurley. What's up, Jake?
What's up, Kyle? How you doing, buddy?
Oh, man, I am ready to roll. It's 84 degrees out right now. Beautiful in Hillsboro, Oregon. How about you, buddy?
Oh, it's beautiful out here. Are you rocking your dad bod too? I know you're a dad, a true dad.
Hey, I've been working on this for about 7 years. My oldest is 7 years old, and I've been holding it down.
Hey, when we were kind of getting this thing all set up, I noticed you kind of hobbling in. Do you need a cane, Grandpa? Like, what'd you do, dude?
I jacked up my back again. I was riding motorcycles with my buddies, and I was like, man, it is so hot out. I want to go take a dip in the lake. And so we're by Detroit Lake, Oregon, and there's this little lake up in the sticks called Tumble Lake, and it's about 1,200 feet down in 2 miles. And I somehow thought that this was a good idea, and I haven't been the most active during this little COVID experience. Going down, I was good. I was swimming with the fishes. Everything was beautiful. And then I had to hike 2 miles up. And by the end, my back started hurting a little bit. And just yesterday, I bent down and I was down for the count. So I've been visiting my acupuncturist, getting back dialed in, trying to earn that Dad of the Year award,
Yeah. Geez, that's crazy. Well, I hope you're on the mend. I hope the acupuncturist is just going to get you all fixed up today.
Yeah, he's the best in the business. So I'll be running in no time. Well, I'm joking. I'll probably be speed walking in no time. But anyway, hey, we love the sponsors of the Against All Average podcast. When you need all things digital looking their best, call our friends at Fame Pro Services. Our friends will give you the above all average treatment with an awesome new website, custom graphics, social media management, and a full line of printing services. Fame, the trusted partner of the Against All Average podcast. Jake, you excited for this one or what?
I mean, I was smiling ear to ear like the whole time you were talking. I'm just stoked. This guy is what?
I was saying I've had to take like 3 drinks of water already. I'm jacked up. I'm ready to go, Jake.
We talk about dropping some gold. This guy is an absolute gold mine. We are going to unleash some gold.
All right, here we roll. Our guest today had a bigger vision for himself when he left the closed walls of being a classroom teacher to building his own brand of education and how to deliver it. He's been featured in Forbes, Entrepreneur, Inc., Fast Company, and has been on too many podcasts, shows, and stages to count. Omar Zenhom is co-founder and CEO of Webinar Ninja, a user-friendly webinar platform designed for independent entrepreneurs and small businesses like everybody listening today. Founded in 2014, over 1 million people have attended a webinar on Webinar Ninja, one of the fastest growing self-funded software companies in the world. If that wasn't enough, Omar's podcast, The $100 MBA Show, consistently ranks among the best business podcasts in over 30 countries, with over 100 million downloads and over 1,500 episodes. Holy moly. Please welcome to the show the host of the $100 MBA podcast and the CEO of Webinar Ninja, the man, the myth, the legend, Omar Zenhom. What's up, Omar?
What's up, Kyle? What's up, Jake? Great to have you. Great to be here, not have you. I'm usually doing the hosting, so.
Man, how many episodes have you cranked out so far, Omar?
Yeah. Yesterday we released episode 1570. So yeah, it's been 6 years, daily podcast.
Wow. An interesting project. Talk a little bit about, I know from listening to a few things and listening to a few of your shows, you used to be a classroom teacher, kind of working in middle management, teaching the teachers, helping them with some classroom management. And then you kind of one day said, hey, I think I want to do things my way, or I want to do things differently. So take the listeners on a short path of kind of how you got into teaching originally and how everything's evolved since you left. And there's been a lot of growth in the last 6 years as well with the variety of things that you do.
Yeah, I got into teaching, funny enough, because I was trying to find stability and I was trying to find a job that I can do that everybody needs teachers. The economy always needs, education. My father was in sales when I grew up. If anybody has a parent that is in sales, they know how volatile sales is. So, like one summer vacation, you're going to Disney World. The next time, it's your backyard. So, I really wanted to go away from that. Like, I really was like, okay, that's not kind of my gig. I want something that's a little bit more stable. So I went to teaching, and I started teaching in the classroom in 2002. Funny enough, probably I would say after my first semester in school, I have an uncle who's the only entrepreneur in my family growing up, really, and he visited me and he gave me a book to read, and I never read any business books before, never even considered entrepreneurship really. And he gave me the book Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. It's not the best business book in the world, but it was the one that kind of turned on the lights for me. I also simultaneously read another book, not famous, not popular. Most people never heard of it before. It's called Anyone Can Do It. It's by Sarah and Bobby Hashmi. It's about a brother and sister company that started a company called Coffee Republic, which was like the Starbucks of the UK before Starbucks came in and took over. And that book really made me feel that, okay, this is pretty cool, this business thing. These people that create things out of thin air, it's incredible. And so I kind of built businesses on the side. The internet was up and coming back then. It was 2002, WordPress and PayPal was coming up out and making it possible for you to sell things online. eBay, I had an eBay store for a bit. So I did a lot of dabbling. I did a lot of successful and not so successful businesses on the side when I was teaching for about 10 years at that point. And it just got to a point where in 2000 and I think it was the end of 2012, beginning of 2013, where I was at the university I was teaching at. I was actually acting chair. I wanted the position full time as the chair of the department. The person that I was replacing, left the institution, and I was doing his job basically for a year and a half, but I never got the promotion officially. So I kind of got restless. I asked my supervisor, said, "Hey, what's going on here? I'd love to officially get this job and officially get paid for it, and I did a fantastic job. I worked and put my blood, sweat, and tears into this position." And she just confided in me and kind of just cut the bullshit and just said to me, listen, I know on good word that the director of the university wants to make an outside hire for this position. And in that moment, I really felt a sense of I'm not in control, like a sense of I'm not. I can't really. I can work as hard as I want, but at the end of the day, somebody else is going to make the decisions for me. And at that point, I realized, okay. I always say that at that point, my fear really took a back seat, and my frustration outgrew my fear, and I just kind of decided to make the full-time leap into entrepreneurship, left education, and became a full-time entrepreneur.
Wow, that's crazy. I'm still a business teacher at a high school level. I teach right across the street from my house. I'm going into my 11th year. Some days feel like that, Omar. Some days feel like you're not in control. You're always trying to run all your ideas by different people, and it's tough when you're selling and you're trying and you feel like you're doing a great job. You're doing what's right for kids. You're trying to improve the department. You're trying to get teachers on board. And then you have the outside forces that seem sometimes impenetrable to try to figure that out. So I'm currently dabbling in your earlier stages where I run a couple of different businesses on the side. I teach full time, and everything looks a little bit different due to the COVID epidemic. And
Totally.
I don't know what next year looks like for me. So I'm constantly trying to build my skills as the podcast has started and other businesses that I run. I think it's important that for our listeners to hear that even if you have a job, even though you're doing really well in your job, really need to start thinking of multiple skills to generate those multiple streams of income.
Yeah, and I first of all, hats off to you, and I compliment you for being on this journey. The other thing is that a lot of people, they don't get it when they say, oh, you lost your job. That's a blessing in disguise. Now you can kind of explore new opportunities for yourself, do things you want. People are like, well, that doesn't make any sense. People don't realize it's actually harder to leave something you're good at. Like, it's hard. It was hard for me to leave education. I was really good at it. I was getting promotion after promotion. I was doing well, and I was managing teachers twice my age at the age of 25. And, I was getting paid well and all that kind of stuff. So it's hard to leave a good thing, something you're good at, and say, you know what, I'm going to throw that all aside and I'm going to start something completely new. That's a whole lot easier. That's why it's actually a blessing
Right.
when that opportunity is not there anymore. Now you got to be more resourceful and take on a new opportunity.
Right. And you talk about, taking those steps. Like, our listeners, we're always trying to give them actionable, tangible next steps and items to kind of walk away with. We kind of dabbled and talked about your teaching career. Let's kind of transition into the first, maybe a couple days, weeks, months of the $100 MBA journey. How did you come up with it? What did that look like? What are the nitty gritty details of that?
Yeah. So the first thing I want to share is when I made that transition to full-time entrepreneurship, I was very insecure about being an entrepreneur. I had businesses online. I had some success. I made some money. But I looked at the Seth Godins out there. I look at, the Tim Ferrisses. I read, 4-Hour Workweek when it came out, when it first came out. And I was just like, I'm not like these guys. These guys actually know business. They know marketing. I'm just playing around on the internet, and if I look back at it, I probably knew more than I thought. So I actually went to a Wharton Business School to try to get my MBA, thinking that's what you do to be a great entrepreneur, is to go to business school. But after a semester in, I had a little chat with my marketing professor at the time, and he was just like, "What are you doing here? Like, you're in your 30s. You've built businesses on the side before. You're not the typical student at a business school." I said, well, I'm here just to be a great entrepreneur. That's why I want to get my MBA. And he was just like, that's not why you get your MBA. You get your MBA so you can get a great job at Morgan Stanley or,
Right.
or Goldman Sachs or something. And I was
Yeah.
just like, oh, okay. And at that moment, I realized, why am I here? I'm here because I feel like maybe I need to give myself permission or give myself some sort of time or course or information to make me feel like I know business and I can do things like marketing and finance and sales. And I thought, how many people are in my position? How many people are in their, second career? They want to start a business, but they want something to consume to say, okay, I have a foundation. I can now go ahead and do it without dropping $100,000 a year or $100,000 for their MBA. So that's kind of where I came up with the $100 MBA. I thought it'd be kind of like a bit of sarcasm with $100. And I didn't want to write a book. I wanted to kind of create a practical course. And, we came up with $100 MBA. I say we, because my co-founder, Nicole Baldino, who's also my wife, she's a New York Film Academy graduate. She shot all the videos and we put it all together. And I still remember the days of pre-launching that. And I think we worked for like 60 plus days straight with no days off, no weekends, no nothing, just to make this happen. And that's really where the idea came from. Is just like, people need a base of information of like how to validate a business idea, how to grow an audience, how to be able to launch a simple website, how to be able to market and sell their products, how to get financing, whether that's debt financing or getting some funding, or whether that's savings, or whether that's, going self-funded, just so they can say, all right, I know now what it takes to build a business. I know the steps. Let me go ahead and start implementing these steps. And I just felt like I can offer that to people rather than giving them a book. I can offer them a course, and that kind of be our calling card or our entry level kind of product, which is the $100 MBA community.
Wow, that's crazy. And you really did it on the notion because you realized after talking to your marketing teacher, like, you don't need to go to MBA school to really understand the fundamentals, right?
Yeah, one of the things I get asked a lot is like, do you need an MBA to be successful in business? I can name a bunch of people that don't have college degrees, period, that are great. But I always say that that's kind of a little unfair because they have something else going on other than than not going to business school or going to a
it's not
college.
like they haven't done anything, right? It's not like they have zero
Exactly.
knowledge. They've been picking through books, they've taken courses, they've had mentors, etc.
Exactly, exactly. But what I do is I do break it down. I say, what does a business school give you? What does it offer? It offers three things. It offers one, it gives you information, education. It's not like they don't teach you anything. And in a lot of regards, it's a little bit outdated too, because you work in education, Kyle, and you know that there's so much red tape to change a curriculum, to change things around is a lot of work, because the assessment body needs to be aligned with the curriculum, and to change that is going to be a little bit, it may take years to update a curriculum, but nonetheless they do give you information, but they don't have a monopoly on the information. You can get this information outside of business school.
Right.
You can get it at the library, you can get it from books, you can get it from courses, you can get it from going to conferences, you can get it from mentors like you mentioned. Okay, so that's one thing that they offer. So we can get it in another way. The second thing is that they do offer a network. This is probably the number one thing people go to business school for, is that they are networking with potentially successful people that are going to do great things in the future, that can help them along their way. And that's definitely something that business schools offer. But do they have a monopoly on that? Well, what if you dedicated, let's say, $10,000 the next year on, instead of just 3 credits at a business school, on networking, on just saying, I'm going to go to the top 5 conferences in my field. I'm going to run some dinners. I'm going to be able to, maybe get some introductions and invites and build some relationships and build my own network through that. I mean, and that's a very healthy budget to do that. I mean, you could probably do it with a whole lot less. I did it with a whole lot less because I have no choice. But that's something you can do outside of business school. And the third thing is, basically business school gives you a permission slip to say, this person knows business, give them a job. So that is one thing that business schools have that you can't get outside of business school. But if you're going to business school to start a business, to be an entrepreneur, you don't need that. You don't really need that permission slip, because you're not getting a job. You're creating your own job. You're creating your own business. So that's kind of how I see it. If you can get the benefits of business school outside of it, and you're dedicated to do that, and especially if you're trying to be an entrepreneur, if you're trying to get a job or trying to get a middle management job somewhere, that's a different story. Some people, they say, well, I do want to be an entrepreneur, but I want to back up. In my opinion, I think that you should think twice of being an entrepreneur, because things get really hard in business. And it's, if you always have that kind of in the back of your mind, you're just never going to make it. You're just not going to, I think it's Arnold Schwarzenegger that says, he never has a plan B, because human nature is, hey, I can always have a safety net, and it just gives you permission to give up. So right. That's just kind of my opinion when it comes to business school.
And do you think, Omar, when you were teaching in the classroom and you had something to fall back on, it was like, yeah, I could really put in some great hours today. I could really get through that book that I needed to achieve the next level. But, I've got to work. I got to wake up at 6 a.m., get prepped, get ready, get my curriculum dialed in, and figure out what I'm going to do for these 5 kids that keep on screwing up my class every time I try to teach them a little bit about life or success. So for you, was your breakthrough stopping and starting your venture?
Yes and no. I did have some success in some businesses while I was teaching. I really didn't have much of a social life because every free moment I had in the evenings, in the afternoons, in the summer holidays, I was trying to build a business. I was trying to figure things out. All my extra cash that I made, I never bought anything for myself. I just would put it into businesses and ventures. And in a lot of ways, it was kind of nice because I had that safety net, and I can afford to make some mistakes that I needed to make, so I can learn about business. I can learn about myself and what kind of entrepreneur I want to be. But it was a different world. Obviously, when you jump into full-time entrepreneur, you have no safety net. You need to deliver. You need to sell. You need to make money. There's a whole different kind of pressure. You need to pay rent. You need to pay your bills, all that kind of stuff. That's why I highly recommend when somebody goes into that full-time entrepreneur stage is to ramp up to it. Meaning, make sure you have a runway of savings, even if that means, drastically changing your lifestyle. And it's temporary. It's okay. It's all right even if you have a family, you're not single, you have a family of kids, sit down with your family and say, hey, listen, daddy's not happy. He's not happy with his job. He wants to try something new. We're going to be doing some changes. We might have to downgrade where we live. We might have to sell our car and sell the Lexus and get a Toyota. These are all just things we're not really going to have much regrets about. It's not, our life's not going to drastically change because we're driving a Camry versus a LX or something, whatever, like, and you can get a better car later on.
Yeah, riding your skateboard, riding your bike. Like, is that the worst that could happen to something that could absolutely change your life or change your mindset into a more enjoyable life? I mean, at the end of the day, you can make all the money in the world, but is success defined in monetary terms, or is it defined in the stress that you carry in your shoulders? Is it defined in time that you have for your family, your loved ones, your wife, your significant other? So that's such a great point to continue to hammer home.
Yeah. And if you can lower your expenses as much as possible, that can save you some money. And you could say, at least I got like 6 months of salary to get my ass in gear and get my business rocking and rolling, make some profits.
And what are those, talk kind of specifically, what do you wish you would have known specifically, like things you screwed up when you just started the $100 MBA? And I know like everybody asks, what would you have done differently? But I think tangibly, you couldn't have screwed up too much because like you were kind of like, that was kind of what you were banking on, right? You left the teaching career.
Yeah, totally. There is a lot of things that people don't know about my career in entrepreneurship because they're not glamorous. I had a lot of failures even before the $100 MBA. We had a podcast before the $100 MBA show that was a total failure, tanked. We really tried hard. It was a 46 episodes run and it just didn't do well. But I learned a lot of lessons through those failures. I always, the thing I would say, or that I learned the most, is that failure is a rite of passage. You have to fail. You just can't knock it out of the park from day one. You have to figure out what's not going to work before you know what's going to work. And that's just something that you have to just accept. You have to just say, you know what? It's kind of like learning how to snowboard or ski. You just have to accept that you're going to fall for the first 2-3 days and you're going to be sore and your ass is going to be really sore the next day and all that kind of stuff. Just accept it. Once you've accepted it, you're going to have fun. You're going to be like, okay, I'm supposed to fall. That's what business is about. That's what snowboarding is about. It's falling for the first few days.
Yeah, so, and I'm sure you saw it as when you were trying to help out teachers as well. Those first year teachers or second year teachers, you've got to just keep on walking through that door each and every day, because your first few weeks or few months, I've seen certain teachers, they just bomb the lesson every single time and are trying to find their foothold. So it's so important in not just entrepreneurship, but in whatever you do, you're not going to be good at it when you start, right?
Totally. One of the things I say is I give this analogy where you take any profession. Teaching is a great one, but let's try something different, like a doctor. Okay, in order for a doctor to be considered, a respected doctor that people want them to help them out and to treat them, it takes bachelor's of 4 years. It takes medical school. It takes rotations. It literally takes them like 10 to 12 years before they become what is considered a doctor that practices and is a professional. People want to start a business and be Gary Vaynerchuk in like 3 months. It takes time. It takes time to learn anything, to be skillful at anything, whether you're LeBron James or you're Mozart. It takes time to be a master. And I think that's one of the things I didn't see. That I didn't have the foresight to realize it takes time to build a great business. And the problem is that if you don't have that mindset, or you don't learn that early on, you start making bad decisions for the short term. You start making bad decisions for your brand for the long term. Like, you do things that will hurt you and bite you back in the long term. And it's unfortunate that a lot of people want quick success. They want to be they want all the luxuries in life and don't realize that business is a long-term situation. You want to make sure that you're around 10, 20, 30 years from now. Jason Fried, founder of Basecamp, has a great little saying. He says, like, anybody can start a startup, but do you have a stay up? Like, can you stay in business? Which is really what you want. You want that sustainability.
And we were talking a lot about the $100 MBA and the podcast that's done extremely well. Talk a little bit about Webinar Ninja and what is developing the webinar software done for you, and then also done for, I assume that you use it for the $100 MBA and different steps of guiding your clients through the process. But talk a little bit about Webinar Ninja, what it is, how you started it, and then what's its specific use in your businesses.
One of the things I love the most about Webinar Ninja as a company is that it forced me and forces me every day to become a better entrepreneur, to be a better person, to be a better thinker. It's a very challenging world to be in software, to be in that kind of business space, because if you have to grow, if you're not growing, you're dying. And if you're in that kind of environment, you have to be able to be willing to say to yourself, I'm not what I need to be to get to where I want to go. I need to change. I need to do different things. I need to learn different things. And that's hard, especially if you had some success with something else. If you're like, you've had a business, you had some sort of success somewhere, like in my case with the podcast, to say, you know what, maybe you did well here, but this is a different game here. This is like the big leagues. This is a different situation here. And in order for you to do well here, you have to constantly improve. You have to constantly grow. You have to constantly say, I'm not good enough. I have to get better, which is a very tough challenge for somebody who's, been around the earth for 40 years and you're still realizing, man, I still don't have it together. I still have a lot to learn, So Webinar Ninja started because I was running webinars to build my audience, to sell the $100 MBA to my potential customers and students. And I just hated all the webinar software options out there. I just was really frustrated. It took me 2 hours every single week to put it all together. My landing page software, my email my email notifications and the webinar itself and the streaming and the recording and the replays and the add to calendar features and the follow-up. And it was just, there's so many moving parts. And it was just like, no software was doing them all. There was just kind of like, I had like 7 or 8 pieces of software I had to Frankenstein together to make sure it worked. And sometimes it did, sometimes it didn't, every single week. And I just thought there's got to be a better way. This is, I wanted to scratch my own itch. So I know a little bit of PHP, HTML. My expertise in tech came from WordPress, and I built a very small WordPress plugin just to build all these aspects within my website easily, within my WordPress kind of install. And I started running webinars with it. And people were like, hey, what are you using for this webinar? This looks great. And I just said, oh, it's something I slapped together. And they're like, well, can we buy it? And at that moment, I was just like, I never thought about selling what I just created. But I was around enough to know that, people say one thing, and then when they actually ask for the money, it's a different story. So money talks. So we pre-sold it. We actually pre-sold Webinar Ninja beta. We told them, I just basically had a very simple, ugly landing page with Photoshop mockups of what it would look like for commercial use for like if they got it. And we said, you're going to pre-order, you're going to buy it now, and within 4 to 5 months, you're going to get delivery of this product. And we opened it up for beta just to see if anybody was interested. I literally just emailed my very small list at the time. I think it was like 1,500 people or something like that. A lot of what I did is I just emailed personally, Gmail email, everybody I met at any conference I went to, said, hey, I'm launching something new. If this is something you're interested in, if not, would you mind sharing this with your audience? Maybe they would be interested in signing up. We sold out our 250 spots in 48 hours. So in that moment, we realized, okay, there's a big enough pain here that people are willing to put down money on the promise of a better solution for webinars. So then we're like, okay, there's definitely something going on here. We need to we hit a nerve. And from there, we kind of launched, we iterated, we heard from our beta users. We got off WordPress and became a cloud-based software shortly thereafter. Year after year, we'd hear from our customers and try to improve the software. And really, my vision for Webinar Ninja was, I want you to be able just to focus on the content of your webinars. As a teacher, I just think that content is king. I want you to focus on the content of the webinars and don't worry about the technology. I want the technology to dissolve the background. Too many people don't do webinars because they think, oh, the technology is going to be a headache. I'm going to screw this up, all that kind of stuff. So I want to kind of remove that barrier. And I loved webinars because from a teaching point of view, I was like, wow, I can get in front of all these people. I can teach them, I can show them, I can demo my product, I can, earn some trust and rapport with them, which is like table stakes for teachers. This is what we're used to.
Right.
So for me, it was just a great medium. And the company grew, the product has grown tremendously over the last few years. Our team has grown, actually in the last 2 months, nearly doubled in size, just because of the demand webinar is having now, especially with people working from home. People are realizing that, okay, I don't need to do everything in person. I can teach online. I can provide workshops online. I can sell my products and services online. So that's really what Webinar Ninja does. It solves that problem for people where they want an all-in-one solution, where they don't have to hodgepodge a bunch of software. A lot of people come from other platforms realizing, oh, I had to buy a landing page software. I need to buy email marketing software. I need to buy all this other stuff. And we just say, you know what? If you want to run a webinar, you can come to us. We'll do everything for you. And everything is kind of simple to do. So that's kind of the genesis of Webinar Ninja.
And take us through the steps of building an unstoppable webinar with crazy conversion rates. Because I know that's something that, everybody wants to start something. A lot of our listeners are brand new. You not only have you built the software, but you've actually like talked the talk with having a crazy awesome webinar platform itself. Kind of walk us through those steps.
The steps of creating a webinar that converts.
An unstoppable webinar.
Unstoppable, bad to the bone, Omar. Something that
Okay.
just absolutely crushes at all times.
So we differ in the marketplace with this philosophy. We're very much against the high pressure sales, show them all the stacked value and, tell them about, it's all sales pitch kind of webinar where it's really, really like, if you don't buy this, you're going to be a loser and look at your life if you don't have this and all that kind of stuff. And I'm not, to each his own. Everybody kind of thinks that works. I believe that that's falling on deaf ears these days. People are sick of being sold ebooks from private jets and things like that. That's not really resonating with anybody anymore. What really resonates is you proving to people that you are of value. And I believe teaching is the new selling in today's marketing. People want to make the decision. It's a lot more powerful for people to make the decision to say, you are who I want to do business with, rather than you to convince them and push them, and then it ends up in a chargeback or a refund. So our philosophy is, if you want to run any kind of webinar, whatever your goal is, whether you're trying to build your email list, you're trying to make sales, you're trying to nurture your audience, you have to have one singular goal. And that goal is very clear. And I'm going to give you this goal. And the only goal you should have on any webinar is to build trust with your audience. You have to build trust. Okay, that's the whole point of webinars. This is why it works, because I can build rapport quickly. It's going back and forth like a conversation like we're having right now. And it approximates being in person. So if you try to do anything else that breaks trust, you're going to miss the point. Okay, so what breaks trust? Like, for example, I tell people on the registration page, there's going to be 100% teaching, amazing workshop, learning galore. And then the whole thing is a sales pitch. That's automatically people feel like you hoodwinked them. That breaks trust, right? So what does build trust? So what you do is you be refreshingly honest. And people are shocked by this when they use this technique. So at the start of the webinar, hey guys, welcome to the webinar. Thank you so much for joining me today. And then you show a menu. This is what we're going to be covering today. 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you want to, I'm going to offer my products and services at this point. You can make a joke about it. I always make jokes about it. I say, hey, this is not, it's not obligatory. You don't have to buy. You can put your wallet in the freezer if you want to, no problems. But the problem, the thing is that like, you need to just flat out say, I'm going to sell at some point. Okay. Because people know you're a business person. They know that this is going to happen, and they find it refreshingly honest that, wow, this person is actually getting in front of it. Second, the whole purpose of the webinar is an audition. This is an audition for you. If they like what they see, if you give them great value, if they can trust you, if they like you, they think that you have their best interests in mind, it's a chance for them to say, okay, I gave my time, I gave my email address, and they delivered. There's a good chance if I give my money, they're going to deliver as well. So that's what you're doing here. You're auditioning for their business, and you're not trying to close the sale the moment you just met them. And I've seen people on my webinar 3, 4, 5 times before they bought. And that's okay, because I'm not going anywhere. Again, long-term vision of the business. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to be here week after week. And then when you're ready to buy, I'll be here. And that's the point. Once you build that trust with them, it's not a question if I'm going to buy a webinar software. It's when, right? And it's going to be with you because they're not going to shop around anymore. That's it. Omar's the webinar guy. I'm going to go with Omar. It's just, and it goes with any genre. If you're teaching golf and somebody's trying to perfect their golf swing so they can impress their boss, it's tedious to go shopping around and go search on Google and find reviews. Once they've built that rapport with you, okay, you know what? I'm gonna do that course. Not now. I'm busy right now, but whatever. But when the time comes, they're not gonna go shopping around. You're in their inbox. They see you. You're front and center. So building trust is the way to do it. And that's really a mindset. If you change your mindset, everything will fall into place. Your slides will change. The way you talk on the webinar changes. The pressure of I need to close every single sale kind of goes down, and realize that I will get sales, but it's over a course of time, and it's going to be sales that stick. It's going to be sales that people are going to be lifetime customers, people that will buy from me again and again and again because they saw that I had their best interest in mind.
Right, and that this resonates a lot with us in one of our previous episodes with a guy named Dalton Van Hatcher, where he was like, "Look, at the end of the day, everybody is a person. Like, talk to them like people." And then what you just said resonated a ton. And it's like, when you see a girl, like, you're interested, you don't just walk up and be like, "Hey, would you want to date me?" No, like, you have to get to know them. Right. And it's like this whole process of like warming them up, building trust. I think, it's interesting to see two completely separate people, opposite sides of the country or opposite sides of the world, really saying the exact same thing. Right.
Yeah,
it all comes down to trust, and they have to trust you first.
Yeah, that's so important. I think over the years of business, I've always come back to it. It's like, do I have enough trust in my customers that there is a high percentage that I can pick up the phone and call them, and when I'm on that phone and I'm on that call, something can happen. If I need to ask for a favor, if I need a quick text that I need something moved from one area to the next, did I do a good enough job of nurturing that relationship so that they know, like, and trust me, so that I could, maybe ask for a favor from them or something like that. I think, Omar, you're so right with the stacks, right? You get this, that, the next thing, you get these 15 items and they're all priced super high. That does start to rub people the wrong way that are seeing so many ads thrown at them on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube from all different angles. I think you're right with that webinar, and the way that you do it is just building that trust and trying to teach them and have them view you as somebody who is an expert in your field. Talk about a little bit, as your companies have grown and flourished, what are some common mistakes that you made, or what are some common mistakes that you see other entrepreneurs make? Maybe they're just a startup, or you continue to see them making the same mistakes. That's one thing when we were communicating before, you wanted to talk to that. So again, what are the common mistakes you're seeing entrepreneurs make right now?
One of the most common ones is not investing in great talent. I think a lot of people try to find a diamond in the rough. They try to find this person that's part-time, but really does the time of full-time, and they're expert and they're hungry and all that stuff. And those people are already snatched up. Like, talent is so important. Even if you're just getting started. I was a solopreneur for a very long time. I didn't make my first hire for a very long time. The point is that if you're going to start hiring people, and I encourage you to start hiring people, because you can't build a great business alone. You just don't have the time. You need the leverage. You need to delegate. You need to be able to do that. But try to find A players. A lot of people try to find B and C players that have potential. They train them, they help them. That's not how you get successful. The way you get success is you find successful people. You find people that already have done that, and you get what you pay for. It's going to be more expensive than you want to spend. Some people can't even fathom, why would somebody spend $25,000 a month on this person to come in and work for them? Like, because they can give you tenfold. They can give you tenfold and change your business in that way. That's why they're that expensive. And that's really what I want to say. That's an extreme example, but when it comes to finding great talent, you want to find somebody who has already done this. You don't want to I never hire on potential, because that's not a promise that they can do it. I want somebody that has already done it. They know, and I can challenge them in different ways and give them bigger projects to work on. But the point here is that don't go cheap there. Don't go cheap there. You can cut corners other places, but when it comes to the people on your team that are going to be taking care of your baby, you get what you pay for. Go for someone that is worth their weight.
Yeah, it's just like don't hire the cheapest babysitter, right? that's
That's a good one.
that's always a line that's always in my head when I think about hiring and paying different people as I go. It's just like, oh, would I really just stretch my wallet to pay the cheapest babysitter? Would I hire them for more hours because they were cheap? It's like, nah, that's probably not a good idea.
And in a lot of positions, I found in my experience, the more expensive per hour hire is actually cheaper in the long run, because they are able to pull off and do the tasks faster, more efficiently, with less problems in the future, whether that's an engineer or a developer or a marketer or whatever it is. They actually end up being more cost effective. And I know that sounds strange, a little bit like, backwards, but that's really what I found, is that you end up wasting a lot of money trying to find that diamond in the rough.
Right.
Yeah,
And
so true.
going off that, I read somewhere, I don't remember where, you got a couple dozen employees. I think that sounds right to me. Working on a couple different continents. How do you kind of keep them all together moving forward? And I guess taking that a step further, how do you scout talent if you can't meet them and they're in a different continent?
That's a good question. So we're 30 now, 30 employees, our teammates here at Webinar Ninja and the $100 MBA. So we were a remote team from day one. So we started with that intention of being a remote team, not to save money, not to be trendy, because we wanted a global team. I wanted to be able to influence the world. I want to impact the world with my products and services. And I can't do that if I don't have a sample of the world in my team, if I don't have those different perspectives, if I don't have people that say, you know what, in that UI, the language, that doesn't resonate with me because I'm not a native English speaker. That doesn't make any sense to me. I think it would make more sense like that. Or, here in Belarus, everybody uses Android. They don't use iOS. So make sure it looks good on Android, whatever the case may be. But the point is that, if you want to make an impact on the world, and that's what I wanted to do, you have to have a global team. If you look at your team and everybody looks like they could be related to you, there's a problem. And it's not about just being diverse. It's about you need to be you need a representative from the world, so you can be able to say, hey, you know what? This actually makes sense for everybody I'm trying to cater to. So that's kind of where we started with our remote team, that kind of intention. It does take longer to hire. So we definitely have our places that we post your jobs. You post your job on our site. One of the things that really has helped us as your team grows is referrals. And they come from within your team, people that know people, their own network. They post it on Facebook or LinkedIn. Hey, my company's hiring this position. We actually have a referral bonus for people that do refer people, which is great if they stick around for more than 3 months and they pass kind of their first round of probation. So it kind of incentivizes people. And we prefer this type of hire because they're coming pre-vetted and they're coming with expectations. So our team member will tell the potential hire, hey, this is what it's like to work at Webinar Ninja. This is the environment. These are the expectations. This is how you win here. So they're already coming in knowing what it takes to be successful. So that's a really good way. But obviously that's not always surefire. So what we like to do is we like to take our time with hiring. We just made a bunch of hires recently. And like our last hire was an engineer, and it took 2 months to find somebody, from putting the job post out to vetting the CVs, from doing interviews, virtually on a call like this, all that kind of stuff. And it takes a few rounds, cultural fit. And then what we like to do is we like to say the first 3 months working with us is a chance for you to feel us out and we feel you out and see if we're a good fit. The way our contracts work is that we say in those 3 months, both of us can say thanks, but no thanks. So you can walk away and say, this is not a good fit for me. I could do the same thing with you, because you really don't know how somebody's going to fit with your team and how well they're going to do that specific job until they actually do it. And then we make that very clear with them. And that will mean that sometimes we'll overhire, knowing that sometimes it won't work out, especially in a department that, maybe you need a lot of staff like support. And that's okay, because we know the law of averages. We know it's going to happen. And it's all right if you're not a fit for everybody. It's fine. But that's kind of our process. We also like to try to get people involved as much as possible in our team, whether it's other managers doing the interviewing, getting another team member to come and vet them. We often share the CVs and the LinkedIns of somebody who's potentially going to be hired. They're on their last round. We say, hey guys, in the department, say for example, we're hiring a new developer, and we say, hey, engineering team, this is somebody we're considering. What do you guys think? Do you think we can use your talents and get some feedback? And they might say, well, can you ask them this question, and that helps kind of vet them and make a great hire.
That's great, because I think so much now companies are looking at a model where they are doing more interviews online, and they're trying to figure out how do I take my traditional processes and move them online. And I think more so than ever, we want to have a diverse workforce, not just because you have a voice in a certain country, but just the ability to have so many different ideas and so many different backgrounds and how everybody grew up. As we're closing this podcast out, Omar, it's been unbelievable so far. Again, thank you for coming on. You talked a little bit about your wife, Nicole. What are you good at? What is she good at? And how do you guys work together to create this little mini beast known as the $100 MBA and Webinar Ninja and all your different side projects?
That's a great question. Nicole is definitely indispensable on the team. So Nicole is a COO. She's a chief operating officer, and she's the one that is very in touch with making sure we have a well-oiled machine. She is the EQ part of the equation. I'm the kind of like, let's get it done. You know, what are the tasks? What are the goals? She knows how to massage them and make sure that they make sense for actual human beings, which is great. I'm not a robot or anything, but she's much better at that. She's very good at making sure that our company actually works well and we actually get the things done that we need to get done, to question if the procedures we're doing are correct or they need refinement, documenting all our procedures so that no matter what happens, somebody leaves, somebody's on maternity leave, somebody has to call in sick, somebody can just pick up a document, a standard operating procedure, and say, okay, I know exactly what to do. Onboarding new staff members, all that stuff that is required to have a great company that no one wants to do. She gets a high off making sure everything is well oiled and just going seamlessly. Just as an example, we refined our onboarding the first week for a new hire, the onboarding process and the basically the program for their first week. And as soon as they go through that first week, you get feedback from the new hire. Hey, how did that first week go? Is there something we can improve? What are some things that were your first impressions? What did you think of that video we sent you? And they give feedback, and we quickly make corrections and change things around. And she's very good at that. She's also in charge of making sure customer support is run at a high level. We take customer support very, very seriously. We believe that just like it's important to build a relationship before the sale, after the sale is even more important. You want to keep them. So we have a great customer service manager, CJ, and she works with CJ to make sure that we have the right resources and that our customers are being taken care of, and our customer service satisfaction score, our CSAT score, is quite high on a consistent basis. So I'm more on the product side and on the business side of things and the sales side, and she's more on the everything else to make the business run side. So she's great. But on a personal level, I'm very lucky to have her because she reminds me to have balance in my life. If you leave me to it, I can work all day long and be stuck on my computer. But she organizes things on our calendar to do, like see people and go and eat somewhere, or have a social life and things like that. And I'm encouraged to do that, more of that. So she definitely is somebody who has that kind of understanding, like, what is this all for? We need to enjoy the fruits of our labor.
Yeah, that's so cool. It's definitely a unique experience, and I think it probably poses a ton of success and often some challenges as well. But it's always cool to see a husband and wife team love working together. My wife and I do not work together, and I don't know if we could. I don't know if it would be the right fit or not. But that's awesome that you guys do that. Omar, where can everybody find you on the web? Where do you want to send everybody?
Sure. If they want to learn more about running webinars or anything like that, you go to webinarninja.com. They can also go to webinarninja.com/course if they want to get a free 7-part video course on how to run their first webinar. If you're interested in our podcast, the $100 MBA show, you can just go to 100mba.net/show. And you can subscribe there, and we have daily business lessons there for free. So happy to be here, and it was awesome chatting with you guys.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Omar. In order to grow the podcast, we need your help. Please subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform and tell a friend about every episode you find value in, and share the episode on your favorite social media platform. If you like the episode, please rate the episode a 5. I think it was a 5. I think it was gold, Jake. It must be a 5, and leave us a review. That's right. Get off the couch after you listen to it, grab your little computer, type out a nice little review for us, and then you can find us at Against All Average on all of your favorite social media platforms. Another big shout out to Omar Zenhom, the Webinar Ninja, and this episode's sponsor, Fame Pro Services. And with that, we thank you for listening to episode 18 of the Against All Average podcast. We'll see you later.